So I'm going to start the way that I always start, much to the chagrin of many people, which is that Pesach and preparation for Pesach can be and should be a very pleasant experience. And the only reason that it's not is because people do much more than they should and much more than they have to. And they think that they have to do many things that they do not have to do. And in truth, the only room that has any difficulty, although we can help with that difficulty, is the kitchen. The rest of the rooms of the house, even if you have little children, is rather easy to prepare. And it's really called the vacuum cleaner. It's all you really need to do. You don't need to do walls, you don't need to do woodwork, you don't have to do any of those things. All you've got to do is vacuum. If you have very little children who hide candy in different places, there you have to know where the stashes are and you have to remove them. So otherwise, you really don't have to do anything more. And people think that they do. And it becomes very onerous and there's no reason for that. So now that we've said that, now it's very easy. Now we can focus on the kitchen. Any questions about what I just said? Okay. Yes, Bradley?
Just one question. Do you have to move any, for outside the kitchen, do you have to move furniture?
I don't believe so. Unless you intend to move that furniture on Pesach.
You don't have to like...
No, I think just,
to see if
okay,
something dropped
again,
down
but
there?
I'm making a certain assumption. The assumption is that generally speaking, even when we have children, which make it very difficult, the rooms are generally clean. And when we clean them so that behind somebody's bed, you're not going to have a stash of Kit Kats.
Or you might have crumbs.
That's of no consequence. The crumbs are of no consequence. That's what I'm trying to say. They're of no consequence. Okay. If you like the citation, the Gemara says on the Vavam Beis in Pesachim, Perure Batle Me'atzman. Crumbs are nullified just by the fact they're crumbs. Okay. So we're in the kitchen, and we're going to prepare the kitchen. And we know that in the kitchen there are a number of appliances that we're going to be using on the holiday. So let's begin with our refrigerators. Now the refrigerator has to be cleaned very well, but when we say clean very well, it means to use regular detergent and regular cleaning implements like sponges and rags, and everybody knows the kind of material they like to use, and to just clean it very well. And when I say clean very well is if there, and there will be film, and there will be film, and there will be spots of where food is. Here you have to take out the drawers, you have to take the various pieces apart, because food always gets trapped over the year. They will get trapped no matter how good a housekeeper you are. Food will be trapped, and you have to go over to the refrigerator just with whatever detergent and water you have, and that's it. I believe that one does not have, even though you read it in books, you can do whatever's in the book, that's up to you. But I believe that you do not have to cover anything in the refrigerator. And I also know for a fact that if you have grates and you cover them in the refrigerator, it hastens the spoilage of food because it harms the circulation of cold air. So one should not do that. But if you insist on lining the refrigerator, some people do because their grandmother did. I'm all into grandmothers and into mothers. So if you insist on lining it, you should poke holes, just again, for the safety of the food. You should poke holes in the linings of those grates. So again, removing all visible food that we can see, anything that's tangible, and we're also paying special attention to the edgings and the moldings in the refrigerator, and if you have a freezer unit on top, because the moldings, you will find crumbs. If you clean it carefully, you will find crumbs, and that has to be cleaned. And that's basically it. What does that take? About an hour tops? Refrigerator is done. And just by the way, you can ask your husband to help you with the cleaning. It's a very, very excellent thing for people to do things together. It's a lot of fun. Why? Abby, I'm trying to bring harmony here. let's talk about countertops. Now, if you have a stainless steel countertop, which is doubtful, unless you have an industrial kitchen, you probably don't. Or if you have granite, or if you have marble, that can be kosher. It can be purged. The actual word, technical word is purging with boiling water, which means you take boiling water that was heated on a stove and you pour it over, again, you put towels down first, it's a little messy, and you pour hot water over the countertops, every part of the countertop, if it's granite or marble, and then you just leave it that way, uncovered for the entire Pesach. If, however, you have other material, then you've got an issue, which is that they can't be kosher. And you just have to cover them. You don't have to pour water on them first. All you've got to do is cover them. Now, there are a whole series of different composites and different substances that people use for countertops. So I'm not going to go through all of them. I have about 20 of them over here. Okay? If you have anything specific, just ask me afterwards. Okay, now we've taken care of the refrigerator and the countertops. I'm almost finished with the kitchen. Now if you look at it that way, it goes easy. It's a little psychological. Now we're going to deal with the oven. Yeah?
Do you have to cover the backsplash also, or just the actual filter?
Now, if you mean the backsplash, we didn't get to the sink yet. Sink is, so about the backsplash of
And
what?
walls behind the counter.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so. No, but some people have counter, and then the counter, depending on the configuration of the kitchen. So they have a right angle. See, just an explanation. The only reason we have any problem with the countertops is because often enough, especially when we're doing things quickly, you can have, let's say you have pasta. You could put the pasta pot down on the countertop, and there can be some spillage. Now, the water that comes from boiled pasta is like liquid chametz. That's the issue. And over a year, we've done many things like that. That's the issue. Okay, to the oven. So if you have a self-cleaning oven, you just put it through the cycle. That's all you need to do. Follow the instructions in the manual in terms of what detergent to use first. The only additional issue is, again, the molding. Now, the molding you have to be very careful with. You don't want to rip it. You don't want to lacerate it in any way, or else the mechanism will be inoperative. So all you want to do is very carefully, very gingerly take a sponge, soft sponge. You have to be careful what detergent you use. There were certain recommended ones and not recommended ones. And you just gently, very gently, just clean the molding before you do the self-cleaning operation. Now, if you have a conventional oven, I don't think most people have that anymore. Does anybody here have a conventional oven? Okay. So some people still have it. You also stand? Why not? Okay. So you're always filming stuff, so you're not going to be home.
This is the Pesach kitchen.
Do you have like one of those kitchens that is on a turntable, electric thing? Then every Pesach you just turn it around? Now, if it's a conventional oven, gas or electric, this is what you need to do. Now, there's a principle involved. There's a halachic principle, which is kidbol'o kach polto. The way that something absorbed the chametz is exactly the same way that it will be expelled from the, right? Metal is porous, it's absorbed chametz. You want to expel that. So it was absorbed with heat, so you expel it with heat. So what you need to do is use the recommended oven cleaner. I just know Easy Off. That's the only oven cleaner that I know, but I know there's a Dow, chemically, whatever it is that you usually use. So you have to use that, and then after you use that and clean the oven, see this, if you don't have a self-cleaning oven, this is probably the hardest job, is cleaning the oven. It probably is. But again, you just spray it with the cleaner, and then you clean it as best as you can. You don't have to do more than that. Clean it as best as you can. And then you turn the oven on for a full hour at the highest temperature that you have. So if you have broil, to broil for an hour. If it's 450, 450, whatever it happens to be, that is what you turn it to for only 1 hour. And then it becomes kosher and the grates become kosher, and you're ready to go. You'll read in some of the books that even after you do that, you have to have an oven liner. I believe you don't have to have an oven liner, but the way it is perfectly fine, because you've koshered it. That's what you've done. You didn't get to everything, but whatever was there got oven cleaner on it. That's not edible food. And also, it's highly unlikely that there's any food left in there because it would have been burnt to a crisp the last time you baked something. Okay, so I believe that is the best way to deal with an oven. If you have a continuous cleaning oven, it's exactly the same as a conventional oven. And its continuous cleaning is really, you probably know this, forget about Jewish law and Pesach, you probably just know it doesn't work the way it's advertised anyway. So you know that it's an issue. Okay. Now, stovetops. Any questions about ovens, by the way? We're going to get to microwave in a second. Okay, now I want to say just something about, I should have said, about the self-cleaning oven racks. Okay. Now, in your manual, it will say, when putting the oven through self-cleaning cycle, remove the racks first or they will become discolored. Now, if you follow that, you cause yourself an additional problem, which is you have to then kosher the racks separately. So I want to just give some practical advice, which is that if you actually leave the racks in for the self-cleaning cycle, what they call discoloration is not something which is unsightly. It means that if it's black, some of it has a dark bluish tinge to it. So unless you decorate the racks of your oven and you show them to people, I don't see what the issue is exactly. But that's up to you. You own the oven and you have the right not to have your racks discolored. But then you have to find another vehicle to kosher them, which is very hard.
Can you put the burners from the top of the stove into the
Absolutely you can.
And that's
Anything on God's earth that goes into the self-cleaning cycle becomes kosher. But you have to be careful what you put in because it also can become ruined. It can buckle and it can bend. So you have to be careful. But certainly the grates you can put in for sure.
You put your grates in, you don't have to burn it out, like put the
No,
stove
absolutely
on?
not. If you put the grates from the stove top in the self-cleaning cycle, it's like super duper kosher. It's like you can't kosher anything. If you had a blowtorch, it wouldn't be any better. And we're trying to stay away from blowtorches. Again, if somebody, I know people, there are people here who have this custom, they get this industrial blowtorch and they do the oven with the blowtorch. That's great. If that's what you do. You don't have to do that.
Can you do that also? Like the highest temperature or just
The truth is that many ovens have in the self-cleaning, they have two different cycles. They have a half cycle and a full cycle. For this, you have to put it through the full cycle. Again, there are many different mechanisms, many different kinds of self-cleaning, but it's the full, self-cleaning is automatic. You don't set a temperature. The computer chip in the oven knows the cycle and the temperature. It gets very, very hot.
If you have a conventional oven, you can do the stovetop grates also when you're running it at the highest for an hour, you can, no, okay.
No, they have to be burned out. See, technically speaking, we're dealing with two different levels of koshering. One is known as libun kal, which means a soft burning, and the other one is called libun gamur. And the grates, because that's where there's spillage of food, and they're constantly being used with direct heat. Right, the flame goes onto those grates. They need to have a regular libun kaved, and therefore they have to be burnt out. Self-cleaning burns it out. Okay. So let's go to stove tops. Now, many people have different kinds of stove tops. So I'm going to be talking about what I consider to be a conventional gas range, or even an electric range, which has burners, meaning the heat source, and it has a grate where you put the pot on top of. Other people's ovens have other kinds of things. They have metal inserts that go in beneath the grates. So whatever you have, it all can be koshered exactly the same way, which is, if you don't put your grates in a self-cleaning oven, what you do is you clean the stovetop very well. How well? As well as you can. What if you can't clean it that well? Well, that's good enough. If it's good enough for you, it's good enough. Right? I'm assuming, again, everybody has some degree of cleanliness, so you want it to be clean. So if you're satisfied that it's clean, God is satisfied that it's clean. And after you do that, you have to clean the knobs. If there are knobs, you have to clean them very well. Don't put them in the self-cleaning oven, they will melt. That's a promise. Then you have to get new, okay, then it'll be great. You get new knobs, and every year you get new knobs, but it could be very expensive. So just clean the knobs very well. But then after the stovetop is cleaned, and again, this could be onerous. This is onerous. What you do is, if you have a Shabbos blech, which just means a large piece of thick metal, you put it over the entire stovetop, and you turn on one at a time, because you don't want to generate too much heat, one at a time for 15 minutes. You turn the jet on, you turn the heat on full blast for 15 minutes. If it's an electric oven, you do it for 10 minutes. More than 10 minutes is not good for the mechanism.
And you would be left on the electric?
Okay, if you just give me two more statements, and if I don't answer your question, okay, because then it all breaks down, as you probably know from past years. Let me just get it out, and then we'll get into it. So if you do that and you have stainless steel stovetop, you don't have to do anything. The whole stovetop is kosher. If, however, you don't have a stainless steel top, but you have an enamel top, then what you need to do is you need to cover the area in between the grates with aluminum foil. And you should also, if you can, cover the backsplash, or not called a backsplash, it's called a vent, but you have to make sure to poke holes in the vent. If you have a vent that works. A lot of people have vents that don't work, so then you have to do that, right? Because otherwise you'll have a lot of smoke in your kitchen, not good. Yeah?
So if you put the grates in the oven while you're self-cleaning, do you still have to turn them on?
No,
For 15
no,
minutes? Okay.
no.
So put the grates in, and then if it's not
But what you
stainless,
would
just
have,
cover it.
see, but if you have stainless steel, you need to do it anyway for the area in between the
But if
grates.
it's not stainless, you don't have to do that because you're just gonna cover it.
That's correct,
Okay.
that's correct.
Do you need water? Are you turning this on with a pot of water, or?
What's a what pot?
I thought there was a thing where we had a.
There
pot.
was, if you have, I'm gonna get to that, that's not your regular garden variety stovetop.
Okay.
Beatrice, what were you saying?
Just a question, I don't even have an electric stove, but you said, that you have the electric stove, that you turn it on, wait until it's red, but then you put the glass on top of it, when you're waiting for it?
What, who said the word red?
Well, I said it, but when you turn it on, the electric stove, and you leave it on the.
Leave it on for 10 minutes, I said.
Exactly, it gets red. So-
It does, it gets red hot.
Exactly.
The heating element gets red
So you
hot.
don't need to cover it, right?
You don't need to cover the place that got red hot, but you need to cover the place that's not red hot.
Ah, okay.
Is there any reason to think the grates will discolor, crack? What's happening? These grates are gonna be in the oven for 3 hours on self-clean. The oven.
I
stove
think
grates
no more or less than when you're
that.
boiling a pot of water.
Okay, okay,
That they have actual flame,
okay, I just wondered.
no more or less. They're made to withstand that kind of direct heat.
Okay. And putting them directly on your oven racks, there's no interaction there either, as far as you know, right?
As far as I know.
I know.
You have to, all of these things, ask your manufacturer, I take no financial liability or responsibility.
Okay, right, and you're not going to every make, I just don't know, right,
I know, I do it every year, I don't see, we got
okay,
no,
oh,
I mean, they live together in great harmony and peace.
okay.
Yeah,
Yes, you have to put the grades yourself in. You're gonna cover over everything. But the actual mechanism where the gas comes out, where the flame.
just have to clean that well. Just clean that well. Yeah.
If you don't have a metal block, is there? Do you have
So what you can do is, you take heavy-duty aluminum foil and you double it over. And the most that'll happen, you'll have ash, aluminum ash, that's the most. Very, very light, just like a wisp of air. It will not, it doesn't burn.
Why do you do that?
Yeah,
I have a glass.
okay, we're gonna talk about glass in a second. Okay, any questions? Yes,
Does it matter if you use a Pesach blech or a Hametz blech?
it makes no difference. It makes no difference. Okay. If you have a glass top, or a Corning top, or a halogen top, or a Seren electric smooth top, you cannot subject it to that kind of heat. It will crack, it will be ruined. And there really is no good way to kasha those kinds of tops, but it doesn't mean that you're in trouble. Just have to be careful how, let me tell you what you're doing and how you use it during the holiday. You need to clean the top very well with the recommended detergent in the owner's manual. And you clean it. And then what you do is, you just turn on the fires for a whole hour. And you don't cover the glass when you do that. If you do that, it will shatter. It will crack. You don't do that. Period. That's what you do. And then for cooking on Yom Tov, you have to be very careful to put the pot down directly on top of where the heat element is. That's all you have to do. And you never cover it. If you cover it, it's death.
So it's gas, not electric.
Make no difference.
So it's,
All the same. In other words, you have a glass top.
yeah, but I have grates on top that have gas.
So then you would kasha the grates,
The
and
same
you would
way.
clean, and you would clean the glass, and you would not cover the glass. And make sure not to put any pots down on the glass.
So you could still cover it with the block, the same way? Because I have grates.
Only the grates, not the glass. If you cover
So
the.
nothing can go on the glass?
Hmm?
So nothing goes on the glass?
Yeah, so if I had to do that, what I would do is I would take a pot, and I would fill it with water, and I would just turn the thing on for 15 minutes, and then go from, if you have let's say four burners, go from burner to burner. For 15 minutes each, and the water won't burn out for that, and if it does, you just pour more water in. And that way you localize where the heat is. So again, you don't want the glass to get too hot, it'll crack. I think it even says it on the, when you buy it, it tells you caution. So, this is only from experience of people who shattered it, people had fires, that's how I know you do only one jet at a time. We've had, over the years here, we've had like so many stories, we can put out a book. That's why we do it this way, so we no longer have any disasters. Right, you do it this way, there are no disasters. Okay. Any questions about stoves, stove tops, or ovens? Okay.
Does it matter
Yeah.
what order you do anything in?
What?
Does it matter like what order?
Absolutely not. It makes no difference whatsoever. She asks, does it make a difference what order you do this? No?
You do the burning after you cover it or whatever?
Well, we should think it through first to see which is easiest.
No, I'm talking about the burning versus the cover. Cover first, because otherwise it's so hot.
No. Okay. If you have a broiler, now that needs libun gamur. No different than a lot of people ask about barbecues. Theoretically, they can all be kosher, but that you would need a blowtorch for. And it would take, it's such a difficult job, it just doesn't pay. You'll just have to do without your Argentinian barbecue.
The broiler question,
If you have the broiler inside the oven, it's like to the top. I mean, it's not cooling up.
See, the thing with the broiler, unlike the regular oven, in an oven, food is not placed directly in the oven, usually. It's in a pan of some sort. But in the broiler, you're actually placing the food on the metal.
No, my broiler is inside the oven.
She's saying that the oven has a broiler setting.
So then you have a hot oven.
No, the broiler is like the ceiling of the
So
oven.
correct me if I'm wrong. I always thought that a broiler has the heat element on top of the food,
It does.
and an oven has the heat element beneath the food.
Some ovens have a broiler on the top. Like my oven, which is an old oven, it has a broiler on the top with coils. So when you put the food in the broiler, you're still putting it in a pan. It's just the broiler is physically in the oven.
Okay, so
just
then it's
a
treated like an
setting.
oven. Then it's treated like an oven, like a regular oven.
I get clean with this, and I can use it on Pesach.
Correct. Absolutely correct. Okay?
So which broiler are you referring to then?
What?
What broiler were you referring to when you said?
There are broilers where you put the food into onto the metal of the broiler.
And
It's a separate thing, it's underneath.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
So those come with the kasher.
The same thing, the same thing if you have a griddle. I don't know how many, do many people use those griddles that these ovens come with?
I have
What a pain. But anyway, if you do use it, you have to put it in a self-cleaning oven or take a blowtorch. Okay, so let's see what we've done so far. So we've done the refrigerator, we've done the counters, we've done the oven, we've done the stovetops. So before we get to the sinks, let's just finish cooking and let's get to the microwave. Okay. The magic of the microwave oven. The way that you kosher it is by taking any vessel that you want, plastic, glass, anything, and you fill it with water. First of all, you clean it first. Clean as best you can, especially the roof of that microwave. You may have some food. Clean it very well, again, with mild detergents. Be very careful how you clean it. And don't be strong-armed with it, because you can bend things and you ruin the mechanism. This is gentle stuff. This is all modern technology, very gentle. And after you clean it very well, you take this bowl, vessel, container, big glass, whatever. You fill it with water and you put it in the microwave. You put it on the highest setting of the microwave and you just do it until the water begins to evaporate. And then voila, it's kosher lepesach. That's all you've got to do. Now, the glass turntable cannot be koshered, but I believe that when you use it, you can just cover it with saran wrap, with plastic. And you have to change it based upon whatever hygienic levels you have. You should change it from time to time. But it can't be koshered, and it should be used. It could be used, easily used, if you cover it with saran wrap. Yes?
When you put this vessel into boil, does it have to be a chametz vessel? Or
No, it can be anything. It can be anything. It can be absolutely anything. We want it, what's koshering it is the actual heat, the steam. Because keep in mind, the way that a microwave works is that nothing gets hot. Only the food gets hot.
Any certain amount of water, or just a cup?
It should be a significant, also it'll burn out before the steam gets into the whole interior. It also depends on the size of your microwave. Some people have smaller microwaves, some people have larger microwaves.
In all these oven koshering processes, you need to have some delay of disuse before you kosher?
No. When we get to the sink, we'll talk about it. But at this point, no, because you're using libun. Libun needs no preparation. Havgala does. Okay. Warming drawers.
Can I ask you a question about
Yes, of course.
I don't have a glass insert for the microwave, it's plastic. Can I kosher it or also wrap
Yes.
that?
You can kosher it.
You kosher it the same way, just put
Just-
the water?
Yeah. It's not regular plastic, it's hard plastic.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's not glass.
Okay. Warming drawers. Okay, much to everybody's chagrin, I'm going to say the same thing I said for the past bunch of years. It cannot be koshered, it should be cleaned, it should be sealed and not used. And the whys is the good reasons for it. Okay. Now, if you have a microwave convection, you cannot kosher it as I just described the microwave. Now, last year somebody said, but I never used the convection. Okay, if you never used the convection, then it's only a microwave. Right? Just, it says convection, but you never used it that way. But if you've used it as convection and as a microwave, then you have to kosher it the way you kosher a regular oven, which really doesn't pay. Okay.
You have to use like oven cleaner and then turn it on for an hour or so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Convention ovens, you said it's not so.
Convection is like a regular oven. Okay. Now, we're ready to go. Sinks. Now, sinks are complicated because everybody has a different kind of a sink. So let's talk about different sinks. So let's talk about a stainless steel sink. Now, in all of the books you're going to read that you have to wait 24 hours before you do the process. So I want to add something to the book. You only have to wait 24 hours is if you have used the sink for hot chametz. So for example, if you're preparing macaroni or spaghetti, the night before you go into kasha, and then you drain the water into the sink, then you've got to wait 24 hours before you do what we're about to say. But if you didn't do that, but you had broccoli for supper, and you drained the broccoli, the hot water of the broccoli into the, only healthy foods, into the sink, so then why are you waiting 24 hours? 24 hours for what? For the broccoli to leave the sink? The broccoli you can use on Pesach.
But green beans, for example, you need to wait. Anything?
No, it has to be real garden variety, first class chametz.
So cold cereal being washed out is not?
Not at all, it has to be hot. Hot.
So other than pasta, what else?
So you could wash the Cheerios bowls out, not a problem. Okay. Okay, the sink. Now, you've got to clean the sink very well, and you've got to clean the spout very well, and you've got to clean the faucets very well. You've got to clean the detergent dispenser very well. You've got to clean the instant hot water very well. Whatever is in that mechanism has to be cleaned very, very well. Especially if it has an opening on the bottom, you have to clean that very well. Because very, very often, it's not as clean as we'd like it to be. And for this, it has to be clean. Now, I'm talking about a stainless steel sink. This is for a stainless steel sink. You take boiling hot water, like you do for your counter, and you pour it over every square inch of the sink. And this is not such a big mess because it's not going to go on the floor. And you do it over the faucets and over the spouts and over all of the dispensers. That's all you've got to do. And then it's kosher for Pesach, so you don't have to put any liners in it, you don't have to put anything in it. It's stainless steel, it's kosher. Kosher. That is if you have stainless steel. If, however, you have a china or a porcelain or a Corian or a granite composite, or God knows how many other kinds of combinations that they have these days of materials for sinks, you cannot do that. You have to clean it, you pour hot water over it, and you have to cover it. As horrible as that sounds. Okay, I just want to make sure. Usually I get a whole bunch of protests. It's like quiet, everybody's quiet.
If you have a sink that just fits in, if you have a basin that
Mhm.
fits just into the sink, do you have to cover around it?
Should.
Any part that's kind of sticking out?
You should.
Okay.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what type of pot, Pesach pot or a regular pot?
Makes no difference, as long as the water is boiling hot. Again, it depends, okay, I should be more meticulous. It depends when you're koshering. I'm assuming that we're not koshering Erev Pesach. If you're koshering Erev Pesach, then we have a big problem. So it has to be before, when I say Erev Pesach, before 11 o'clock Erev Pesach morning. Then everything I'm saying is true. After that point, we've got a problem. Yeah.
I'm not clear on what in this, I have an enamel sink, so I'll have a basin, plastic Rubbermaid that I put in.
Mhm.
But you're saying, and I cover the counters and the
Mhm.
edges of the sink, but
That's correct.
I don't have to cover the inside of the
If you're not putting any food in it, but you're also pouring hot water on it first.
I'm pouring hot water, I'm
Yeah.
cleaning and pouring hot water, and then
Yeah.
I put in my Rubbermaid
So
and
you're
I
fine, so
put
you're
my
fine,
Pesach
you're fine,
dishes in
because
them. But sometimes like the water could back up.
that's a problem. Then it's a problem. So
So
you have to just be
I
careful
can't-
with it.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
have to be careful, because when you do that, you have to make sure that the grates are always clean. Well, that's how, one way the water backs up, or you push it down, and the thing is a very delicate mechanism, and it pushes down, and it just, it seals the drain.
But once I've poured the hot water, and like 5 days later, and I'm still using my Rubbermaid, and,
You're fine.
I mean, if a little water comes up,
I-
do your
I can,
best.
I can only answer a specific question,
Yeah, you don't have to cover the inside of the sink, because that would,
not if you're not using the sink.
okay.
Yeah,
I have a stainless sink. Can we use this soap dispenser once it's cleaned out? We can use the same dispenser?
as long as the soap could be used on Pesach,
Yeah.
which is most of the detergents that we have.
So you don't have to empty out the soap, you just clean the
No.
dispenser?
No.
Okay.
Yeah,
Built-in disposal in the bottom, if you have, at the bottom of the sink,
so you just use it. Don't put your hand in it.
put someone else's name.
Rabbi,
You have to,
they're
I'm
not
sorry.
sharp inside. They're just metal, I mean, don't put your hand in when
Like I
it's.
said, put someone
They're
else's
not
name
sharp.
inside.
No, I put my hand in plenty of times. It's
Really?
just two metal plates, but they're not sharp.
Isn't it dangerous to do that?
Not when it's on, I mean, when it's
When
not
it's
on, yeah, it's just two metal,
Okay.
pieces of metal that spin quickly, that's how they
Okay.
work.
You just have to run it before
That's
you
all.
washer.
Yeah.
and
Run
even
hot
if
water in
there's
it.
back- if
Yeah, you can use it. It's for garbage disposal.
No, but even if there's water comes back up from there during.
Just clean it well. We're intelligent people. We figure this out. Okay. Okay. It looks like we finished the whole kitchen. 20 minutes. Okay, so if you look at any of the books, and I agree with the books, dishwasher cannot be kosher. Sad but true.
What about the drain in the sink? Do you have to replace the little insert for the drain?
Because you pour hot water over it, and it's always stainless steel. You don't have to.
So what was,
Okay, everything I'm saying is what I do in my own house. So I'm not like telling you one thing and do something else.
so even if it's,
'Cause it just sounds like so irreligious, all this stuff.
so
But this is it.
even if it's a stainless steel dishwasher?
It has nothing to do with it has nothing to do with the material. Because you could even, we would even be able to do other materials. It has to do with the fact that on Pesach, even the slightest amount of chametz would ruin everything. And it's impossible. And people have tried it here, and it is impossible. I did it with somebody once, because she drove me out of my mind. So I came over to her house and did it with her, to take the whole mechanism apart, and then she saw that you cannot clean the drain for it to be perfectly clean. You cannot. If you think that you've done it and you want to take the chance, that's more power to you, but it just can't be done. Which is why all of the books say you can't do the dishwasher. So you say, well, in the hotels they do, industrial dishwasher is totally, the mechanism is a different mechanism than what you have in your kitchen. Totally different. Okay. Any questions about the kitchen? Finished with the kitchen. I know the dishwasher is a bit of pill to swallow. I get that. Okay, let me say what you can't kosher. Just, you can't kosher bread machines. You can't kosher a crock pot. Now, the coffee machines, the Keurig coffee machines, you can't kosher either. Neither can you kosher anything that's Pyrex. Okay? Yeah.
One more thing, the soda stream now that,
Soda stream is fine.
you need
Even if
different
it's on the
bottles,
counter?
but you can use the mechanism, right?
Even if it's on the counter? Like, even if it's on the
Just
counter?
clean it very well.
Do you need different bottles?
If it's only been used for water.
Unless you,
We wash it with this.
you should just wash it out.
Yeah.
If you use the syrup.
It's not, because none of it is chametz.
No, but the syrups, like, they have flavorings.
That I don't know. I just know the soda stream itself is fine. The flavorings have to be close to Pesach, which they're not.
What's the reason for the Keurig machine?
Because you can't get into it to clean it. That's why. Again, if you only use pure coffee and you've never used a flavored coffee, you have no problem. But then what's the point of having a Keurig machine if you don't use flavors?
No, we're not gonna go, I have an espresso machine that's only coffee, right? No
So
flavor.
that's fine.
Hot water, like showers.
So you can, but you've got to clean the plastic and the area, the seam between, depending how it's made. But some of them have metal and then plastic on the bottom of the plastic spigot. You have to clean that like super well with a toothpick in between where they meet until you're like totally satisfied that it's clean.
Even if you've only used it always water.
But if you use it in the kitchen, invariably there are other foods that come in contact with it. Unless you know for a fact, like I know there are certain people who they put their urn in a specific place and like, but most people like in a normal house with kids, you can't guarantee anything.
Like the metal blake, just a piece of metal that I use for Shabbos.
You have to get a special one for Pesach. Yeah.
What about a blender, if you can replace the container of the blender?
The problem is the mechanism. The mechanism always has stuff. Same thing is true about the, what's that thing called? KitchenAid. Same thing is true with the KitchenAid. Just try it one time. If you ever baked a cake, just look in the area where the vents are, and you'll, if you take it apart, you'll see it's filled with flour.
We used to talking about the hot water pot before.
Hmm?
The hot water pot.
The hot water pot. So you can clean it very well. And you pour hot water over the outside of it. Okay, wow, it's going down easy. Yes?
What do you think? So you might have discussed also glass. Can you use glass?
Glass what for what?
Just all makes glass. It's not glass.
No, we get new ones for Pesach.
New ones.
Yeah, yeah.
Linen.
Hmm?
Linen.
Linen?
Yeah.
You just wash.
Cloths.
You wash.
Just wash it.
Just wash it.
Fine.
Wash it, fold it.
Dishcloths too?
Hmm? You had a question?
Oh, what about the electric blech?
So you can, again, if this, the problem with blechs is there's always spillage, which is like if you make cholent and stuff like that, there's always going to be some chametz on it. So you should really get a separate blech. But then you have it forever. And it's always cleaner than the other blech because you use it only once a year. Okay, so we're finished with kitchen stuff. Wow, so we cleaned the house. Excellent. So now that's the hard part. Now I want to talk about products. Now, if you've already gone shopping, you already know that there are fewer products this year than in previous years because people cut back the past few years and the manufacturers took a tremendous loss for creative things that nobody bought. So it's more basic this year. So let me talk about things that need no hashgacha whatsoever. It's unfortunately a very short list. Okay. Lemon juice, real lemon juice, real lime juice. That's what you could use. Raisins that have no oil. Almost all coffees except for decaffeinated. Decaffeinated, unfortunately, is only, I'm reluctant to call them coffee, but they are. Folgers and Senka are the only two decaffeinated. Instant, I'm talking about instant coffee. Decaffeinated, the whole decaffeination process literally uses chametz in it. So it's probably real chametz. You can use all tea bags that are not herbal. And the only decaf that you don't need a hashgacha for is Lipton. Or anything that has a OUP or OKP. If you get the OU book, we have them downstairs on the counter. They have like tons of, they have different sections. They tell you the things that you can buy without any kind of special supervision. And they tell you what needs supervision and which brands and have the supervision. But again, what I have found is that our local supermarkets don't carry those. You have to go to a more concentrated Jewish area where they see to it that they carry those items. But I'm pretty sure that, I know that Coke and Diet Coke are OUP, and Pepsi is OKP, or whatever it is, something P, but I'm pretty sure they don't have them around here. I didn't look, but they never do.
Stop and Shop.
Yeah, they have.
Stop and Shop does?
Mhm.
Super Stop and Shop or any Stop and Shop?
The one
Oh,
on
okay. Okay.
All
Okay,
these
so,
things need a kosher hashgacha, just not a kosher Pesach hashgacha.
well, obviously, you don't want them to have to be, you know,
Well,
it's not chametz, but it's not kosher.
Raisins need a hashgacha.
Well, yeah, but they all have, they all have. The truth is that, you know, Del Monte, these, the regular brands, Sun-Made, they have the triangle K, which is fine,
Is that good?
because you don't really need anything. Okay, let's talk about quinoa.
Triangle K is fine on all products?
No, just for the dried fruits.
Okay.
Just for the dried fruits. Okay.
Just because you don't need anything on the dried, like Trader Joe's has dried fruits.
Trader Joe's, I believe, is in the OU list of ones that you're allowed to use. I know that they have the nuts that you can use, and I know they have some dried fruits. It's all in the book. It's all in the book. And we have plenty. Everybody should take the book. It's a good book.
Could I just ask you about coffee? I bought Nescafe. It has Rabbi Charlap's.
That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. That's good. Is fine. Okay. Now, people have little children, babies. Now, babies are not subject to the same laws as adults, generally, and certainly not in the area of kitnios. So that all children who are on formula have to get their regular formula. Now, if they're on cereals, you've got a problem, because the cereals are almost all chametz, even the rice cereal. All of them are problematic, so the truth is you can make your own rice cereal. It's not that hard to do with regular rice. Just by regular, but again, this is for children. If children need things to eat. Also, if you look at the OU booklet, they have baby foods that some of them don't need any hashgacha for Passover, and others that do need it but do have it. You'll see that in the book as well. But whatever the children take, their supplements and their formulas, the children should take it. What you want to do is you want to just wash the things in a sink that you're not using for your own food. Now, milk substitutes are problematic unless you get the right ones. Again, if you look in the OU, they have a whole page of different kinds of milk substitutes that you could use. Again, not every coconut milk is good for Pesach, and not every almond milk is good for Pesach, and you have to. But there are those that are good. So you just check the book. Okay. So I just want to talk about quinoa and get it out of the, unless it's not popular anymore. I did my quinoa research. Okay, so quinoa needs to have a hashgacha, and two of them have it and they're readily available. One of them is Ancient Harvest, which I think is available in just about every store. And it does not need a P, just a regular star K. And if you go to, what's the name of that on White Plains Road, the Mrs. Green's. If you go to Mrs. Green's, I believe she has natural earth products that have a star KP. And then there are a lot of Israeli brands that have it, but they're small containers and very expensive. Generally speaking, by the way, if you can get something that doesn't need a Passover supervision, you're doing yourself a favor, because the prices are exorbitant. Absolutely exorbitant, beyond belief. Okay, any questions about products? Yes?
On product, but can we go back to the kitchen in regards
Yeah, why not?
pewter serving pieces?
Pewter on metal, and all metal can be koshered. With hagala, which is just taking a pot, and if it's before the 5th hour Erev Pesach, you can do it in a chametz pot, as long as it has not been used for chametz in 24 hours. You fill it up with water, and you let the water boil so that bubbles are coming from the bottom to the top, and then you put the pewter pieces in one by one, and you have to make sure that you maintain that boil, because the metal will cool off the water. As it happens, we do that for non-problematic utensils here on, the Monday night before Pesach. So it's like 5 days before Pesach. So we do just, so if you want to come to the shul, we'll do it for you. Or do it at home. Teach the kids how to do it. Yes?
What was the instance where you need a stone in a pot? Is there anything where
There's
you
a
need a
book
stone?
called Stone Soup that we used to do. You don't mean that, do you?
Was that a wives'
The
tale?
only time you use a stone is when you have a pot so large that it doesn't fit into any other pot. And what you do is you fill the large pot up to the tippy top, and then the problem is the lip, it's physics, the lip of the pot, the very, very top of the pot can never have the boiling water over it, because then it falls out of the pot. So in order to kosher it, what you do is you take a stone or a piece of metal and you put it in a fire till it becomes very, very hot. And then you very carefully, you take that hot stone and you put it into the pot while the water is boiling, and it super boils the first half of the water in the pot, and when it does that, it goes over the sides and it kashers the outside of the pot, the top part of the pot.
Thank you.
And it's very dangerous. And it should not be done, unless you're like desperate. Otherwise, you take a pot and put it into a larger pot that's boiling. Okay, so that's what it is. But it's not a regular stone, it's a hot stone to super boil the water. Okay? Yes?
Can you kosher glass?
No. Sephardic Jews have the custom to kosher glass, but it's only glass that has not been used with anything hot. And the way that they do it is by getting a bathtub filled with water, putting all of the glassware in the tub, and letting it sit that way for 24 hours, then removing the glassware from the tub, letting the water out of the tub, filling up the tub a second time, putting the glassware in for another 24 hours, and then after 48 hours what they do is they do the same process again, so that after 72 hours, Sephardic Jews have the custom to use glasses that were not used with anything hot on Pesach. And Ashkenazi Jews don't have that custom. And even if you have the custom, doesn't it sound horrible? And they used to have to make way for the fish in the bathtub. I'm not joking, that's how people used to do it. Yeah.
What about Passover salad mixes? Do you need a special?
So they need to have some kind of Passover supervision. And I believe that the ones that have it, like the Star K, all of them will have the Star KP. And the reason is that there are rinses that they use to clean the salads that have glucose in them. And sometimes glucose can come from actual starch, wheat starch. Yeah.
I may have missed this in the beginning. Stainless steel utensils, you just put them in the sink and stainless steel sink.
I'm not hearing.
Stainless steel utensils.
Stainless steel utensils?
Yeah.
If they're perfectly clean, they can be koshered in boiling hot water. But they have to be perfectly clean. Most pots, as good homemakers as we are, there's always going to be something on the pot. Unless you can literally get everything off. Otherwise, you can't kosher it.
No, the utensils, no, like the forks and knives.
Yeah, all of them can be koshered, yes, in boiling hot water. Yeah, all of them.
Lori,
Yeah.
I think there's a brand in Eastchester, there's a store there called Country Market that sells, I think it's like arugula and spinach called, I think it's like Go Girl or something like that, and it's in these plastic containers. And it usually, I mean, I've also bought it at Aaron's, but it's a little bit more expensive here locally. And I think it has like a Star KP. So.
Any other questions?
Fresh cut fish.
What?
Fresh cut fish from Costco.
You can buy it. It says so in the OU booklet.
Frozen vegetables.
Frozen
Regularly.
vegetables are problematic for two reasons. First, because the wash that they use to rinse them off very often has chametz in them, and almost any company has pasta that they make together with vegetables, and the same machinery is used. It used to be that we just bought bird's eye, but the whole industry changed, and the rinses changed.
So for the fish, you can buy the fish, it doesn't have to be the frozen fish.
Correct, it should be fresh, the frozen fish is not so good.
The frozen one was good last year.
Tasted good, so it tasted good?
But you had to
I'm
wash, you
talking
had to
about
rinse
taste.
it, right?
But it was okay without a hashkafa, without a,
Right, and the same
And you
thing's
had
true
to
about their
rinse
fresh, they have fresh salmon, right?
Yeah.
That's good.
The salmon that they have as an ayu in Costco.
Yeah, they do. That's good. Yeah,
I know you went over the Diet Coke, but just to clarify, it needs an OUP.
it does because they changed the formula from corn syrup to sugar. Yes. I just want to point something out. Food chemistry has become exceedingly complex. And that the rules of thumb that we used to use when we were younger no longer are applicable. Well, what can be? What can be? Anything can be. Anything can be.
I'm sorry, the frozen salmon, putting aside how it tastes, at Costco is okay also?
100%.
Without it, OU.
And it still doesn't taste good. Moshe, you know, if I was smart, I would know the answers to these questions because you always ask the same ones. I'm not so smart. Give me 1 second. Moshe, just for variety, for the spice of life, why don't you just change your mouthwash once in a while? You said Listerine? It's good. All Listerines are good.
That's good.
And you get one question, Moshe. And all scopes are good. And all the acts are good, and the fluoroguards are good.
With the Pesach reservation?
No, with nothing, with nothing. With absolutely nothing. Crest is good, Colgate is good. Tom's of Maine is good. If you need more, I can give you a whole list. But I think those are the ones that most people use.
But you have to buy a new one.
You should buy a new one. Toothpaste. Yeah. Oragel, Pepsodent, Prevident, Ultra Bright, Close Up, Baby Oragel Tooth and Gum Cleanser, Arm & Hammer, AIM.
So does that mean if you have Listerine left over,
Oh, I don't, you know,
you should change it?
I think I'll buy a new one. Eventually you're going to use it anyway. You seem to be the kind of guy to take it and swing it down.
I put it in the cat first.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Tums? Yeah.
Tums? Hold on a second. That's antacid, right? See, Abba, we never eat antacid. You cook so beautifully. Okay. Tums. Okay, I don't have it in this book. I'll have to find out for you. I don't know. Yeah.
What about, Advil or Tylenol?
All analgesics you can use without any hashgacha whatsoever.
Lactate?
Lactate, you need to buy the milk before Pesach. Lactate tablets are chametz, pure
What about
chametz.
the cashews? Cashews?
Everything before Pesach.
Like any other dairy? Treat it like any other dairy?
Yeah.
Eggs are not dairy, right?
What?
Eggs are not dairy.
Eggs are not.
Dairy.
Not considered dairy.
I mean, you can buy them during
Buy eggs
Pesach?
during Pesach.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
So the lactate milk you have to buy before Pesach, but regular milk you can buy before and after? And
Yeah,
during?
but it has to be kosher Pesach.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
But if you buy before, it doesn't have to be?
That's correct.
Wait, so then you can buy eggs?
What?
You can buy eggs?
Yes, 100%. 100%.
I know, but the lactate milk has to have the, now it's only during Pesach.
You can't buy it during.
Joy liquid soap, when I was in the supermarket, it didn't have any hashgacha.
Which?
Joy, the dishwashing joy.
Doesn't need. It doesn't need.
It's fine.
It's fine. Doesn't need. Yes. If you look in the OU book, they'll tell you which soy milk you can use.
Yeah, but it's only for babies.
It's only for babies or people who are not well.
Right,
It's not for healthy people.
Almond milk, all that stuff is not.
Right. Correct.
I didn't catch what you're saying about regular milk.
Regular milk has vitamin D.
Yeah.
And the source of vitamin D very often is a chametz base. So if it's before Pesach, so then it's a minuscule amount and it becomes nullified. The rule of chametz on Pesach is that there's no nullification. So if you buy milk on Pesach, it's a problem.
But if you buy a can of Pesach,
It's fine. And also if you buy milk that has the OUP on it, so that it means that they change the formula of the vitamin D, or they don't put it in vitamin D.
Even if it's not Chalav Israel, you can buy it if it's not.
What?
Even if it's not Chalav Israel, the regular brand milk, you can buy a Cholamoid.
You should buy Chalav Israel.
No, that's what I thought. That's
On Chol Hamoed?
Well, you can't buy a regular brand that has OUP on Holomoid.
If you have that, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
If it says OUP, you can buy it even on Chol Hamoed. You just won't find it, that's all.
I've seen it, I've seen it.
Yeah.
Does your comment to Susan about joint, if it doesn't have the OUP?
It doesn't, none
I
of
mean, it
them.
doesn't need it,
None of
but
them.
do
It
you
doesn't
need
need it.
do you need a
Not
hashkafa
for
on
dishwashing
dishwash-
liquid, not for the standard dishwashing liquids that all of us use.
Do you need a hashkafa at all, or just
You
not?
do,
an
you
OUP?
do, and they all have. I've
Okay.
never seen any dishwashing liquid in the United States that does not have an OU.
Why not a soft scrap? Is that what's
Oh,
going
yeah.
on?
There it goes.
All you've got to do is, this book, I couldn't memorize every product in the book, and I apologize for that. And I tried,
No, they don't, I can't find it. That's what I'm saying.
so then don't use it. Okay, are we good? We good to, yes?
Just to be clear, so before Pesach, you don't need OUP by, no.
Correct.
Sorry, right. Okay, so on Pesach,
It has to be kosher, but again, it's not gonna be, because they don't change the feed of the animal. It's a problem, it's a problem. It's not a gigantic problem, it's a problem. If you do, you do, you don't. Okay. Chag kasher v'sameach. And by the way, if any questions arise, just text, email, or call. I'm available for questions.